So officially welcome to Extemp. Can you still see that, Ben?
Yes.
Can you see it over there? Okay, I'll try to get out of your way. Welcome to the first day of Extemp camp. I'm gonna close the door. They're destroying the kitchen, so that's fun. All right. So what we're gonna do today is, first of all, we're gonna go over Extemp overview, what Extemp is, some of the rules, some of the stuff on the ballot for Extemp, what your goals should be, and then I'm going to do a little spiel on why y'all should do Extemp because it's awesome. Then the second lecture is going to be on interpreting questions. Obviously your topics in Extemp are going to take the form of questions. And so I'm going to be walking you guys through the process of how you can identify what type of question a question might be, and then how to choose your question, how to start to think about answering that question, and then we're going to go into some group exercises at the end. So let's go ahead and start off with kind of our overview of what we're going to cover in this first lecture. I talked about this a little bit, but what is Extemp, rules in the ballots, your goals, and the reasons to compete. So let's go ahead and start off, first of all, with what is Extemp. Functionally, what is the event? What defines it? What separates it from other events in STOA? Let's first start with the basics. Extemporaneous speaking is one of the 3 limited preparation events. As you might guess from the name, limited preparation means you have limited preparation. You have a set amount of time that you have to prepare your speech in. If you do not prepare your speech in that amount of time, then you are toast, and nobody likes toast. So, Extemp speaking, you have to be able to think through and be able to answer a question in a very short amount of time. Extemp focuses on current events, things that have happened in the last 3 months. Now, it's supposed to be just things that have happened in the last 3 months. Sometimes they stretch that a little bit at some tournaments, and it's really annoying, so hope that never happens to you. But Extemp focuses on current events. It focuses on things that are going on right now in the world, things that are happening around us. That could be anything, and we'll get to this in a second, from elections to wars to political instability to sports to technology, whatever you can think of. There's probably been an Extemp question about it at some point. This is from the STOA website when it describes how you can prepare for Extemp. It says, the competitor, alone or as a part of a club, researches national and international current events, and they create reference files of newsworthy information. So your information that you are going to use while you're in that limited preparation phase is not just going to come from you, but it's also going to come from your club. You're going to store and compile newsworthy articles, things that are actually about stuff that matters, not those articles that are like clickbait or articles about how some lady saved her dog from a wash or something like that. Newsworthy articles, articles about things that you might actually get questions about, things that you might actually have to talk about. Now there are some software things, I don't know if they're actually software, I'm going to call them software things, that can compile evidence for you. I'll get to this when we talk about how to keep up with current events, I think on Wednesday. But I would definitely recommend also cutting articles on the side on top of using something like Extemp Genie or something that compiles articles together for you so you still keep up. But we'll get to that in a second, just remember that I said this here. Okay. Let's talk about the purpose. What is the purpose of Extemp? What is the purpose of the event itself? What is the intent of the existence and the competition in a certain event? This is also from the STOA website where it says, a competitor develops themselves... What? That doesn't make sense.
I guess it's as a...
Competitors develop themselves as...
Well-informed students.
Blame STOA, not me. Okay, basically the point is you want to become a well-informed student who can critically evaluate current issues by expressing his or her position on a given question. So your goal is to become a well-informed student. The way in which you do that is by evaluating and analyzing the things that are happening in the world. So you're not just giving a speech about something, you're not just talking about the election, you are in some way analyzing it, you are evaluating it, you are making some form of claim or judgment about that you are attempting to prove. In other words, what I'm trying to say is basically it's the same concept as the first speech in a debate round. You have less technicalities, you have less structure, but the point still remains the same. You are trying to prove a case. You are trying to prove a position on a certain issue or on a certain thing in the world. You're trying to prove something. The way in which you do that is by being well-informed and critically evaluating those issues. The purpose of a speech is to take a stand, not just give your opinion or interpretation. This is kind of what I was talking about a second ago. Your goal, your purpose, is not just to stand up and give your opinion on current events. Your goal is not to stand up and say, I don't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the worst. Your goal is to stand up and analyze Donald Trump's, say, chances in the 2016 election, or what Donald Trump is going to do with the import of llamas from Peru. Anything that you can think of that you're going to get a question about, your goal is not to give your opinion about it. Your goal, your purpose, is to evaluate it. Your goal is to take a stand, take a position that is backed by evidence. And we're going to be re-emphasizing this point in a little bit. Now let's talk about the subject matter, and I forgot to animation. Lovely. Okay, questions are going to be split into three main types. You're going to get domestic, international, and economic. Those are the three main categories, and we're going to be talking about these a little bit more when we get to interpreting questions. But for now, just remember that there are three categories. There's domestic issues, there's international issues, or issues in the world, and there's economic issues, or issues that deal with the economy. Now, these can cover anything from technology to sports, from elections to wars. So it can cover just about anything that you can think of that's going to pop up on a news website. Just think about it this way. If the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal is going to spend the time and the money to write an article and publish an article about something, it can probably be an Extemp question. Yeah?
What, news, websites do you not, trust? Do you not like?
Way too many to name. Okay, the short answer is all but two of them. No, three of them. For the most part, I trust Stratfor. Stratfor isn't a newspaper per se, but they put out basically press releases that analyze international politics. It's basically a think tank of foreign policy analysts, and I find that they tend to be very non-slanted in the way that they view things. The second is going to be the Wall Street Journal. I think that the Wall Street Journal is also very neutral. The third would probably be Business Insider. I like Business Insider for economics and things along those lines. Now, the reason I narrowed it down to those three things is because all news sources, most news sources, have an agenda. Even if you like Fox News more than CNN because it has a more conservative bent, you still can't really trust it because it's still trying to spin the facts to support a specific agenda. The news sources that you want to look for are the ones that just, the old adage, that just give you the facts with no spin. You have to be able to determine which of those do it the best. Those three are the ones that do it best, in my opinion at least. We'll get to that a little bit more actually when we talk on Wednesday about how to keep up with current events. Yeah?
Sorry, can you just repeat the name of the first one? I didn't write it down.
Stratfor.
Stratfor, okay.
Sounds like Stratford, but it's not. There's no D. Which really bugged me. When I first heard it, I was searching it with a D, and I was like, it's not coming up. What's going on? Okay. Third, be prepared for anything. Because you have such a width, such a breadth of the types of things that you can talk about, you definitely want to be prepared for anything. If, say, Turkey is in the news a lot, and I know that was like 2 weeks ago because I'm not really keeping up with current events right now, I'll admit. Say you have something about Turkey, don't just prepare for Turkey. There are going to be questions on Turkey, but be prepared for anything. Continue to expand your knowledge on just about every single type of subject matter that you can. That will help you to be more effective.